Hey, welcome back to another learning how to press comic books video. In this video, we're going to try to tackle dents and spine ticks and other imperfections in the spine prior to the book going into the press. If you watched a recent video on this specific book, Doctor Strange 61, I went over in pretty significant detail all of the different issues that I pointed out in this book. So if you want to see a recap of that, I suggest you go watch that video first. But when I was examining the book, I found, I think it was about 14, 15, maybe even 16 different issues with the spine. And some of these issues certainly could just be pressed out with even a quick press, but in some cases it's better to work on the spine, trying to work on those spine ticks individually prior to the book going into the press. The press could be sort of that final step, if you will, like the final sealing of the book to try and get it in the best shape as possible. And what I wanted to do is mix in a couple of different techniques that I'm learning and experimenting with a little bit of humidity, and then as well as some direct spine repair with a tack iron. So the first step here is to get the humidifier ready to go. I'm using this Pure Steam portable humidifier. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. It takes a couple of minutes to get going, and I'm going to put the book aside so that when the steam comes out, it doesn't drip all over the book. All right, so go ahead and turn on the Pure Steam. And while that's heating up, you probably saw I did have a few things in the book already. And I went ahead and put a magazine backing board in the center, and then a single page of 100-pound cardstock paper on the inside front cover and the inside of the back cover. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the book set up so that the spine has a nice curvature, so that when I do apply the moisture and then the heat with the tack iron, I do have a nice roll and I'm not pushing into the book to kind of square off the spine or messing with the staples. So humidifier is still warming up here. Probably hear that bubbling. And we should see steam coming out any moment. Yeah, and it's ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to focus on this corner down here first. So I'm going to give it a little bit of steam. Just kind of wave it a little bit back and forth. It's actually very hot to the touch, but I'm waiting to see if there's any curling that happens. And I like to put the magazine board and the paper in there as well, so that I can actually see that start to curl and I know that it's ready. So we can see the bottom start to curl, and just a little bit more for good measure. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the Pure Steam, move it aside, and then it becomes kind of a timing thing at this point. So we've got the moisture on the book for sure, and I'm trying to grab it just so that the board and the cardstock stay in place, but definitely to the touch can feel the moisture. And then at this point, I'm going to turn the tack iron on. All right, while that's heating up, I'm going to go ahead and take my piece of SRP paper, and I want to kind of place it, and this is actually a good cover to work on because I can see the blue right here in the cover. And it's definitely warmed up now. And then you kind of want to work it, I'm not left-handed, but you kind of want to work it, move the paper right there, and just kind of smooth right over those problem areas and put just enough pressure on it. And I can already see some improvement there. Press just a little bit harder now, moving it back and forth along that spine. And not trying to flatten it per se, but just working those problem areas. Yeah, and what I notice is that this process is definitely working, but the spine ticks were actually color breaking. So right there, I can definitely see those color breaking areas, but the actual before and after of the size of the dents, it has improved quite a bit. So I'm just kind of moving this up and down from the corner up to the staple, just a little bit at a time. I'm going to kind of work the opposite way as well, just a little bit. Trying to put just the right amount of pressure on here. And I'm not trying to mash the book or mash the spine. I'm just sort of, I hate to say it, but just sort of massaging it with the heat. All right, I'm going to put that aside and just take a look and see if we can notice any improvement. And not quite there. I definitely still see some, definitely like a dent, more than just a color break. It's definitely some sort of denting there as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the book this way and try this right-handed and get in there with a bit more pressure. In this case, I'm pressing down on the book, but kind of holding it, trying to find those very specific problem spots right there and right there. And this one being the one on the lower side of the barcode. That's the one that's probably the most problematic. So I'm trying to really massage that part of the book. Again, without pressing down and ruining the spine and mashing it. Just almost holding it in place. And going back and forth a little bit. It's possible that I didn't let the tack iron warm up enough, because now I can definitely feel the heat coming off of it. So I may want to do it again or try in a different spot. So let's see if that improved it at all. Yeah, I think it's better. Just slightly. I feel like it's definitely got the dent out, but I think what it's doing is it's exposing the fact that it was color breaking. So I think what I want to try is this one in the middle here. And this one you can see is pretty significant. It does have a kind of a leading color break and then a dent right there. But let's try that one next. So I'm going to go ahead and start up the Pure Steam one more time. Get that going. And I'm going to focus just in that section right there and give that a bit of humidity. So yeah, I believe that the tack iron was just not warmed up enough. That's why that process took a little bit longer. So now that it is, it's warmed up and ready to go, and so is the humidifier. Let's work on the middle now. Get it on camera there. So I'm just trying to steam the center, kind of maybe just off center. The middle there. All right, that should be pretty good. My hand's getting pretty warm. It's actually quite hot. So same deal, and I think what I'm going to do, since I am right-handed, is just go ahead and start on this side and work the middle, and then just starting to massage that spine and stopping where I feel right. It's right in there is where that dent is, so just trying to smooth it out. Stopping to apply some heat with the moisture, and then just kind of going back and forth on that spine. I can feel the dent right there. It's almost like if you're giving somebody a massage and they've got like a stiff neck or a pulled muscle or a knot in their back or something like that. You can actually start to feel it and work that problem area. All right, a little bit more, and then we'll take a look. All right, let's see how this turned out. It's actually gone. I don't even remember where it was. I'd have to go back and watch the video. It was somewhere, I know it was in the blue, but it's completely gone. I think it was right there. Right there is, I think that's where it was, that you see that little bit of a hairline color breaking spine tick right there where my fingernail is. But the actual dent is completely gone. So down here with this one, the reason I was really disappointed was, one, I didn't have the iron heated up all the way. And also, although I got the dent out, I just noticed there was a bit more of a, maybe like a 1/4 inch of a color breaking spine tick. But the actual dented spine tick, that it has that typical like fold in the middle where if you take a book and you accidentally fold it just slightly, it just cracks and crinkles and dents right there. That's completely gone. And what I'm noticing too is there's a lot of little minor issues here that I would probably go ahead, when it's all said and done, when I'm not trying to do like the spot humidifying and the spot iron work, is then just go back and give it a nice once over and just go up and down the spine and completely massage it before I put it in the press. So the last part that I want to work on and show you today is this particular spot. If you can see that right from where it says 1983, right directly up into Doctor Strange's face, there is a significant dent on the spine that, again, I want to work on and give that a little bit of spot treatment before I put it in the press itself. There's a couple other issues you probably noticed. That was one of the other color breaking spots that I pointed out. But like I said, other than that one, this one that I was able to get out, and the one down here I worked on, those were the 3 significant spine related dents and issues that I wanted to work on. So I'm going to get the humidifier going one last time, and I want to see if I can get this spot to basically relax and lay down through the humidification and spot ironing process. So once again, going to give the steamer, the great thing about this Pure Steam is it takes like less than 2 minutes to go, and already you can see and feel and hear the steam. So I'm going to work on that top spot near the corner box. Kind of move the book around a little bit right there, and I can kind of see it from my angle where the page starts to kind of puff up and wrinkle a little bit, and I just saw it there, so that's enough. Move that out of the way. And I think the other thing that I noticed was definitely if you're right-handed or left-handed, you want to position the book appropriately. So in this case, because I'm right-handed, I'm going to lay the book this way and work in this direction. So I'm going to be working on right in this spot. So I lay down the SRP paper, and remember it's from the 1983 right to Doctor Strange. And again, I can feel it almost like a knot in somebody's back that you're massaging. I can feel the whole thing right there. And I'm just going through and applying, I would say, medium pressure. Sometimes if I feel like it, I'll take my pointer and really push down, just if I do feel that knot in the book. And just kind of going over the spine, looking at the curvature of the spine and the pages and respecting that, not trying to mash straight down, but almost coming in at a little bit of an angle, like a 45-degree angle as I massage. Now in this one, I noticed that the dent was going up into the middle of the corner box, so I am going to lay it flat and again put a little bit of extra pressure there because we're away from the staple. It's okay. And then kind of go back and tilt the tack iron and work this way on the spine. So let's take a little look. And I think we're good to go. Let's see how this turned out. I'm just going to be giving it a nice circular once over. Again, not trying to mash, create any new dents, like moving in a circular motion, angling against the spine. There's definitely kind of an art form to this. It's not an exact science, but it's definitely a tactile situation where you're just kind of trying to feel where those dents are. And I'm just going to go up and down the rest of the spine here just while I'm here. And just giving it just a quick massage for some of those smaller spine issues. So let's take a look at this now and see how we did. So I definitely still see, I think it's improved. It has improved. It's still there. You can see it at that angle right in there. It's practically gone. I want to say it's probably like an 80% improvement. I can still see a little bit of an issue. I'm going to go back and work on it just a little bit more. I may just hold it in place for a little bit. Just applying the lightest of pressure. And I may have been a little bit off. I think the actual issue is right here. I might have been focusing more down here. And I'm trying not to lay the iron in the dent. So this is basically this straight angle for where the dent was. And I'm kind of coming this way and moving alongside it, like perpendicularly. So the iron is perpendicular to that dent instead of laying in the dent, in the well of the dent, to just kind of smooth it out. And I'm putting a little bit of extra pressure on it now because I was probably a little too gentle that first time around. Let's take a look at it again. Yeah, I still see a little bit of it, but it's much better. I'd say maybe another 5% was improved there. To me, that's good enough now to go in the press. It doesn't have that really, really stubborn sort of dent where you press it once or twice and you're like, man, that's just not coming out. With an overall humidity, and then I'm probably just going to do a quick press on this to see. I feel like that's probably good enough. There's one more spot I want to try, which is right in there. That is color breaking right there. So I'm just going to give it a quick once over, and then I'll get this ready for the press. All right, going to give the book one last steam treatment before we get it into the press. And essentially with, this is technically Bronze Age, since it's 1983. And Bronze Age can pretty much go the way I assembled it, which is the staple protection magazine backer board, and then the cardstock. So I'm just gonna give it one last once over with the steam along the spine, and I'm moving the book kind of quickly because I don't want to over humidify it, but I'm just trying to get those problem areas and get the book ready to go. I definitely can almost feel the book curling, the pages curling, and everything kind of getting wet. So I'm going to go ahead and shut that off and lay it back down gently so that I preserve my sandwich. And now I'll get the press ready. The way this works for this era is you can go ahead and use your steel plate. I'm going to go ahead and get that warmed up. So turn on the press. All right, the press is warm. The press is nice and warm, so I'm going to take the magazine board and SRP, lay the magazine board down first. Fresh SRP paper. Go ahead and put this part in first. And as I do that, I'm kind of pulling on the sides to make sure that the cardstock paper and the center magazine board didn't shift around. I did this backwards. I did do it backwards. Okay. SRP down against the book. I did it backwards. So, still learning. So, making sure nothing shifted. So, SRP between the magazine board and the front cover. And then the plate right on top. There we go. Now go ahead and close this. I have it already preset, so I can very gently press it down. And it's set. So it will stay in the press for about 5 minutes. And then I'll probably go ahead and leave this in the cold press for at least 4 to 6 hours. I may check it tonight, or if I feel like it, I may let it rest overnight. So we'll see what it looks like after it is out of the cold press. All right, here we go. The book has been in the press overnight. I ended up leaving it overnight. Just didn't have time last night to check out the book, and leaving it in the cold press for a little bit longer never really hurts. So let's go ahead and open up the press and take a look and see how the book turned out. So gently open the top, remove the top plate, and take off the top backing board and SRP. And let's take a look. All right, first glance doesn't look too bad. Taking a look at that spine. Again, as noted, there was definitely some color breaking spine ticks, one right there. Those are still there. Those aren't going away with the press. But in general, it looks so much better. So much better. I'm going to remove the inner magazine board and the two pieces of cardstock paper. Now, I will note that, of course, I always learn after, and that's part of the beauty of trying these things out, learning and educating yourself. I had read somewhere that the cardstock paper that is recommended, this is 100 pound, and folks that do this definitely recommended using a lighter weight cardstock, maybe around the 60 pound. So I'll have to try that next time. But you know what? In general, it looks pretty good. The spine is definitely preserving, I would say, the typical curvature and not that very rigid line that I typically see with moderns, which is nice. But yeah, I don't see the issue here that we had. I mean, there was a pretty... the book felt, it was almost like a little bit of a well right in here at the top. That's gone. That's completely flat. There was that one issue in the middle that's gone. I don't see that either. And then down at the bottom, I noticed two issues. That one was pretty bad because you do see that leading color breaking spine tick, but there's no trailing dent afterwards. The corners are nice and sharp. And then on the back, the issue that was there before was really up in the corner. That looks really clean, certainly down here at the bottom corner, that looks clean as well. So it's not a perfect book by any means. It still has that that adhesive or weird substance there on the back from kind of the paper being pulled. But all in all, from a presentation perspective, it's a very, very clean copy now. I really like the fact that with the dark color, we didn't see too many issues. Even up there at the top, if you remember, there was a bit of lifting or pulling almost to the point of it being a tear right there at the top of the book. And there's still, right there, there's just a slight almost footprint of where it was right in there. You know, it's certainly, if we were talking about a 9.8, does that make it a 9.6? I'm not sure, but there's almost like just a little bit of a history there, but much, much better and cleaner and crisper all around. So I think I was giving this book maybe like a 6.0 fine designation. This is so much better than a 6.0. Now, is this a 9.0? I mean, what do you think? You tell me. I don't see why it wouldn't. I'd have to be really, really critical of the book and start pointing out there and that spine tick and that spine tick. This is probably what's going to keep it from being a 9.0, honestly, is that tear. So that's where I'm dropping it down a whole grade to probably an 8. So I think I was kind of correct when I gave it that first general self-assessment. Like, the book feels like it should be an 8, but there's just too many defects. But the cover, as I move it back and forth in the light here, the cover just looks nice and crisp. So I think I did a pretty good job with this. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I really don't know how much more I could improve this book. I think I would settle this in and give it an official grade of an 8 and kind of call it at that. So really, really happy and pleased. Definitely going to make use of that that sealant tool, that tack iron, and definitely, you know, keep up with the humidity and keep trying it. But that was pretty good. Pretty happy with how that turned out. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? Anything that you think I could do differently next time to improve the process, or just want to see more of these? I'd love to get your feedback. Leave me some notes in the comments. Other than that, I appreciate you watching. Happy collecting, and see you next time.